everyone. My name is Holly Jo Flora, and I have some news to share with all of you. And I am so excited to share this news because I have been working on a project for years, and it is finally done. It's finished. I have written a book. This book. This is a women's devotional. It is called Same God, New You. And I wanted to make today's video just to share how this book came about, why I wrote it, just some interesting information about the book. But before we dive into that, I wanted to let all of you know that next week I'm going to post a video that you do not want to miss. So make sure you subscribe to my channel. But if you are writing a book or you've written a book and you're interested on how you can have it published, you don't want to miss next week's video. I have already, since I released this book last week, I've already had so many messages saying, Holly Jo, how did you publish this book? How did you get your ISBN numbers? Lots of questions. So I thought it would be helpful if I made a video just of everything I have learned in this process of writing and publishing a book. Now, the book that you are working on or interested in making does not have to be a devotional. The information I'm going to give you next week, it's going to be for all genres, whatever you're writing. It'll be different resources that I used, different companies that I used. So make sure you subscribe because you're not going to want to miss that video. But let's go ahead and dive into this book. And since Julie May made such a beautiful book cover, I love it so much, I'm going to set it next to me so that you can all see it. I wanted to share what planted the seed for writing this book. And you know, we all hear sometimes we make comments and we don't think much about them, but they had so much weight. The words we said meant so much to the person that received them. And that is definitely what planted the seed for this book. And I shared this with Kim, who I'm going to talk about, and she doesn't even remember saying this to me, but it really meant a lot to me. Years ago, I would post things on Facebook, and I still do. When we first had our first child, God would teach me something, or I'd be struggling with something, and I would post something about it on Facebook just to share my thoughts and what we were going through. And on one of those, Kim, my friend on Facebook, she left the comment, Holly, you should write a book, because I would totally read it. And when I read that comment, I just had this weird feeling. And I thought, God, are you telling me to write a book? Should I write a book? And it stayed with me. But I felt very confused because I had so many topics and subjects that I wanted to write about. I didn't know how I would make that into a cohesive book. I didn't know how to go about it. And this went on for a long time. And there's much more to the story, but maybe I'll make a video about that at a later date and share exactly what happened to lead to this. But let's jump ahead in the story. And I felt that God was sharing with me that I should write a devotional. And I'll tell you what just was the icing on the cake and made me think, yes, I have to do this. And I'm going to be self-published. We're going to do this on our own. What happened to bring that together is I love devotionals. I give them as gifts to lots of people. I always read one at night before I go to bed. And I've read so many wonderful devotionals and devotions that have just really helped me. And you know, when you're going through something and you read something that you feel God just put that together for, it was meant for you. That is such a wonderful feeling when you have a need in your life and you need direction and guidance and you get it. But on the flip side, when you are giving time, we all have a busy day, busy life, and you sit down, you're giving time because you want to grow, you want to improve, you want to have time with God, you want Him to speak to you. When you have a need in your life, and you know those times in your life where you're just unrest, you're filled with unrest, you are in turmoil, you need guidance. When you sit down and you have your quiet time and you read a devotion and you're really looking for it to help you, give you some guidance, and it doesn't, it is frustrating. And one night in particular, I had been writing devotions, but I hadn't really attacked it. I was just writing as they came to me. I hadn't really thought, here we go, book, it's coming. I was just writing devotions as they were coming to me, kind of very leisurely. And one night I was just overwhelmed because something was going on in my life and I was so burdened. And I went to my quiet time that night, and before I have my prayer time, I read my devotional. And I thought, oh, I really need, for whatever devotion is the next one I'm going to read, for it to help me. I just need some help, and I need some peace and comfort and guidance. And it was beautifully written. It really was. It was gorgeous. And if you've read this devotion, the thing is, I think the frame of mind that we are in, the mood that we are in, it helps us to either connect to a devotion or not. And that night, I was in such need for direction and help. This devotion was about this lady would go out walking every morning before her children would get up, and she'd watch the sunrise. And the last time that she was out walking and watching the sunrise, she just thought the word majestic. And she said she just kept saying it, majestic. And in the book she says, let that word just roll around in your mouth, majestic, say it. And if I had been, we do have times in our lives where everything seems to be going right. We're on a mountaintop, it is great. If it had been one of those nights, I would have probably said majestic, because it's true, God is majestic. But that night, I didn't want to roll the word majestic around in my mouth. I needed help, and I just felt so frustrated. And I thought, God, if I write a devotional, I want to really try and focus on struggles and give people peace through your word. Can you help me write a devotional that really deals with what's going on in our lives that we need help with? And the next night, I was laying in bed looking at my phone, just wasting time before I went to bed, and I was on YouTube. And I know God put this video in my path because I hadn't looked up anything on how to publish a book. But there was a video from a lady named Bethany Atazada, and I love her videos, so check her out on YouTube. And the title was something about how to publish your own book. And I thought, whoa, now hold on. Because I'd still been writing devotions thinking, eventually if I can get enough for a book, I'll send it off somewhere. Hopefully they'll read it. I might get published. But I watched that video and I just felt this piece of, this is the path that God wants me to take. I should write this book and self-publish. So I woke up my husband. I think he was asleep next to me. And I remember saying, I'm going to write a book, which he knew I was working on devotions, but we're going to publish it ourselves. And I love how my husband receives these things from me, because anytime I come to him with, I think God wants me to, and it can be something very far-fetched or something that is just out of left field. And he will always, my husband always says, if you feel God leading you to do that, we'll make it happen. And that is exactly how he responded to this. And I'm so thankful for that, because when you have an idea that may seem kind of outlandish, because no one in my family or my husband's family yet has published a book. And I think that, if you have a dad or a mom who has done something, or a relative before you, it doesn't seem so outlandish for you to try it or say you're going to do it, because they've already kind of opened the door for you. But if it's something that no one in your family has done yet, it's very easy for people to be like, what? And I think in those moments when someone responds, if they respond in a negative way, or like, you can't do that, or we can't do that, or you don't know how to do that, it can immediately put the brakes on you, because you're already feeling vulnerable and a little nervous, even though you're excited to share this, even with your spouse. And that he receives things like that with a, let's do it. It is so helpful to me. And it was then. So I started writing, and then it was game on. I think I had already written 12 devotions, and I decided I would like to write 40 and the introduction. And so I just wrote and wrote. And I'll give more information about that next week on the writing process, how many times I edited, what I used for editing. So that will come next week. But if you have bought the book already, I want to say a huge thank you to you. I was blown away. A lot of you who are my friends, like on Facebook and Instagram, you had no idea I was writing a book, and I'm sorry, but that's the way that I work best, is to keep things to myself until I'm ready to share them. So like I said, I shared it last week on Monday, and The response was incredible. It was humbling. It was very much God. I'll get choked up. Good grief. Okay. I had told my husband and I told my sister that when I released this book, on release day, I needed to clarify a win. What would be a win that I would feel good? You know, how many books would I love to sell? And I'll be like, that was a great day. And my prayer was 5 books, because I am not a known author. I've never written anything. Nobody knew. I mean, talk about marketing. Nobody knew it was coming. So I thought, if I can sell 5 books, that'll be a win. And we sold a lot more than 5 books, and it's because of God, and it's because of all of you. You all are precious people, and I very much felt loved, and I thank you very much. And I'll give you more information on book sales. I've had text messages asking, how many of you sold? And I'll share that next week, how many books we have sold. But I hope this book is a blessing. I wrote about things in my life. I don't name anyone except just a handful of people. So as you're reading, this is just information that you may be wondering about. I don't name names except for you can tell if it's my husband, my kids, my sister, my mom, my mother-in-law. If you know us personally, you'll know who those people are. There is one person that I use his name, and it's my friend's son, Mason. And I wrote the devotion, I sent it to my friend and said, is this okay? But her son, he's an adult now, so I also sent it to him and I said, is this okay? Can I publish the story that involves you? And his mom and Mason also said absolutely. So got their permission, asked my husband anything that's about him in the book. He read it, he gave it the green light, thumbs up. The things about my children, I don't think that there's anything in their future that they would be like, Mom, I can't believe you shared that about me. So I tried to be very honest, but also respectful to them. But for my mom and for my mother-in-law, there are devotions. I think there's like 4 devotions that mention my mother. I gave all of those to her to read, and 3 of them are, I think, very positive and praising of my mom, because she is a wonderful woman. But there's one in here, and it's actually the 2nd devotion in the book. And next week I'll go more into, I used beta readers to help me with my editing and just making the book come together. And with the beta readers, I asked all of them to send me their 2 favorite devotions. And the 2nd one in this book, it's called It's Not About the Containers. That was one of almost all of their favorites. So that's why it's 2nd in the book. I started the book off with one that's called So Many Serums, because I really wanted to start this book off to let all women reading this know that this is for all women. This isn't just for moms. This isn't for wives. This isn't for a certain age group. It's for all women. And that was very important to me. So I started with So Many Serums because I feel like all women can or will be able to relate to that. But the 2nd one is called It's Not About the Containers. And that does discuss kind of a difficult time that my mom and I went through. And I just think all of us, we all at some point in our lives have gotten into an argument or been upset with one of our parents, or our parents have been upset with us. That's just life. Those are relationships. And I really, really appreciate and respect my mom that in that one, it shared something about her and my relationship at a time after I had become a mother. And my mom read it and she responded with, yes, you can put it in, you can use that devotion because it will help people. And I love that my mom has that attitude, that we can be honest. Same thing for my mother-in-law. There is a devotion in here about my mother-in-law, and I gave it to her to read and asked, could I use this? I've written a devotion, can I use this? And she said yes, because again, it will help people. So if you're reading the book and you wonder like, oh, did her mom know, or did her mother-in-law know? Yes, they know, and they gave me the okay to use them in this book, because that was my main goal and is my main goal with this book. I want it to help people. I want, when you have that night like I had where you are burdened and you are struggling with something, that you read a devotion and it makes you maybe realize that you've been thinking about something in the wrong way, or God speaks to you about you need to take action, you need to do this. That's very much my personality, is that I want to be trying. I want to be doing. I don't like feeling helpless. I want to be active and someone give me a job and a task to do or something to work on. So if you're minded like me and you want to have something that can help you, I hope this book will help you. And the introduction talks about how, you may not agree with everything I write in this book, and that's fine, absolutely fine. God can be teaching you different lessons than He's teaching me. And so I do hope, though, that every woman will feel included in this book and you'll be able to learn something from it. I hope that and pray that it helps you. Now, where can you get this book? Well, it is available in paperback and hardcover and ebook. Now, if you're into ebooks, I put it everywhere I could possibly think of. So go to wherever, if you're, Kindle, Nook, whatever, go to where you purchase your ebooks and hopefully it will be there. If you are looking for an ebook and you can't find it where you usually do, please comment below and let me know where I need to add this ebook to, because I tried to think of everywhere I possibly could. So it's available there. For paperback and for hardcovers, you can get them on Amazon. You can get them at Barnes & Noble. You can get them at Walmart. And you're soon, hopefully next week, you'll be able to get them at Target. And most of those are going to be online. With stores, they typically don't carry self-published books unless the customers request it. So even though it's available through Target, through Barnes & Noble, is available through Walmart. Target's next week. You probably aren't going to go into the store and see it sitting there unless it's requested a lot, but you can order it online. And again, more information next week on how to get your book published in those different places. So I look forward to talking with you again. Thank you for watching this video. And again, if you've already bought the book, thank you. You have blessed my heart, and I hope this book blesses you. Hello again. I was just watching the video back so that I could start editing it, and I realized I left out a very important place that you can purchase this book at. So thankfully, I still had on my fancy shirt, so I could jump back on here and let you know that Same God Knew You is also available on my website. My website is hollyjoeflora.com, and for every book that you purchase on my website, whether it's hardcover or paperback, you will receive a bookmark inside of your book. So if you'd like to purchase your book there, it will have a bookmark in it. It'll have a note from me, and there's also a link for all ebooks on my website as well. Be sure you join my mailing list too so that you'll get all the latest information.